So it says Vav Amid Aleph. Still trying to prove the machlokes between Abai and Rava, saying which one is, if we can prove one versus the other. Does a lechi oimid me'elav, lechi just sort of stands on its own, meaning that it just happened to be there in the right place. It was not originally designated when it was originally put down in the ground, or put up as a lechi. It was never meant for validating a movi. It just happened to be there, and you want to transition it. And we also said that the homachlokas is only if it already was designated before Shabbos. There's no shayla if you designated on Shabbos. That's too late. Okay, so Abaye says it's good. Rava said it's not good. We thought we had a raya from this case of the trees and the branches that form this mechitza and formed Rishus Yachid, and we answered that even though those walls were certainly not, they don't seem like it was planted for that purpose. We answered the same answer we gave to the other cases. No, the Chadchila, when you planted it for this purpose of supplying walls. So it was L'Chadchila made for that purpose, and that's what Rava's position is. So Gemara says, but then why limit it to only base asayim? If you planted it for that purpose, it should be good even more than a base asayim. Base asayim should only be limited when it's, like a park or something. But if you planted it for that particular purpose, shouldn't it be good? And the Gemara answers no. That the only time that you can go above a base, more than a base asayim, when you have a big enclosure and it's viewed as a Rishus Yachid even bigger than 5,000 square amos, is only when it's a dira shetashmish avir. When it's tashmish l'yachid. In other words, it's meant for personal living. But here, it's really not meant for personal living. You made this place to serve as sort of a resting stop for the people working in the field, and you want to relax under the tree. But this is not the place where you're going to live. So that's where up to the Rashi. Do we do a metaltalin boy? That one? Okay, so a metaltalin boy. So you're not allowed to carry in it if it's more than a base asayim. You only can carry in it till that point. In Moya Kefo, say metaltalin boy Rashi. In Moya Kefo yosemi base asayim kechotzar mishkan. If it's surrounding walls were surrounding an area greater than a base asayim, like the chutz of the Mishkan, which that was a shir for the chutz of Mishkan. The shir is nasucham l'chol hekef hamasukin ve'en masukin kol tzarchay, and that's the shir that the Rabbanan gave for any surrounding walls that surround an area that's fixed but not fully fixed. It's good but not fully masukin. Kigon l'mechitza shembo shasi ve'erev by perka. Okay, we'll learn about that. That somehow it didn't go in both directions. Or if it's a surrounding that was not made for living, Perek Sheni. We're going to get into that also later on. In the second parak, this one's coming right up. The Shasi Ve'erev case is coming right up. The Hukah for Dira is in the second parak. V'achinami, and here too, Im ba'im me'elav mukmasla. Okay, Shapir. Right, so if you understand the case the way we understood it originally, that they happen to be there, and you just want to transition these wonderful branches into a domain, okay, and having them, they're less than 3 tefachim off the ground, so they're like connected to the ground, so it's all fine and dandy, and it makes sense why you should limit it to a base asayim, because it's not really made for living. And it wasn't made for real walls of a real abode. Yovav Rabbanan Haishur. The Rabbanan gave the shir basis sign for those particular types of situations. This certainly fits in to that not very high level surrounding, not very high level domain. It doesn't really fit into the classical Rishus Rabbit. But over here, if you're planted for that reason, then shouldn't that be sort of a new level of validity, that it should give it the validity of being even a Rishus Yachid, even greater than a Beis Yisayim? And the Gemara says, no, because let me introduce you to another idea, or a similar idea, but he's taking it to a little bit further than they have him in a thought. Indeed, as Rava said, it was made originally for the purpose of being a wall. So you have fulfilled Rava's mandate of it having to go up originally for that purpose of being a mechitza. V'hekev fladirahu. And it's viewed as a hekev fladira. It's being surrounded for the purpose of living in it, as opposed to sort of just happenstance taking, something else and using it for that purpose. But this is not a dira that's really used for servicing what's inside of it. But rather it's needed to service the airspace of what's outside of it. For the people who are watching the fields to be able to stay there and live there, obviously, temporarily, just for the day. But it's my main job is to watch the field, and I come in here just to relax and just to get some shade. It's made to protect the person from the sun. In a deer like this, you can only carry up to base asayim, up to that 5,000 square amps. Kedetanya perg sheni kalam Reb Shimon ben Elazar, as we said in the second parak, kol avish tashmisha ladira. Okay, any airspace that's made for living, going deer v'sahar umuksa v'chotzer. Like a corral in the like a backyard. I'm not sure what a sahar is. I guess we'll see later on, or a courtyard. I feel yud kurim mutter. Okay, even if it's 10 cores, it's mutter because it's made for living. But any dira that's really made for the airspace outside of it, going burginin shabesados beisasayim mutter, yos beisasayim aser. These little huts that they would make for the people who want to work in the fields, and you need a place to relax and take your coffee break, that doesn't qualify for more than a basis sign. That's limited to only a basis sign. The lav dirahu. It's not called a dir. The al karchu darsham. You're living there against your will. It's sort of, you need to create a place to hang out because you're out in the sun. You're out in the field, so you need some shade. But it's not really where you want to be, and therefore, that's why this brisa could fit into Rava. Even Rava could maintain that it was planted for that reason, but it still does not qualify as a regular dira to allow you to go more than basis site. Okay, let's go to the next one. So we're still trying to prove this Abaye Rava issue. Toshma, first wide line. Shavas betel shugavaya asara v'ma'arba amos vad basis sayim. So you found a nice mound. Okay, that you said, you know what, I can pitch my tent here in this mound, and this will be my resting spot for Shabbos. And this tail could be a very big mound. It could be at least 10. It needs to be at least 10 high. Okay, and it's anywhere from 4 amas to a base of Sayim. It could be quite big. V'chein beneka, or if you decide to, pitch your tent and pitch your Shabbos abode in a cleft of a rock. Shu amok asara could be 10 deep. V'ma'arba amos abeis sayim, as they learned the hard way in, was it Thailand? Where was it? Where those kids got in that cave? So you find a nice rock to hang out, and that rock can end up being a lot bigger than you imagine. But it can go same dimension to go up to 4 amas, from 4 amas up until beis sayim. V'kama kitsura. Okay, or if you cleared out before Shabbos a nice area in your cornfields, okay, so you got a nice place to relax, and right around you, if you cleared and cut a bunch of corn stalks or whatever it is, any other type of stalk, and now you have a nice clear landing, there you have it, okay, 209, okay, and you got yourself a nice place where you can be for Shabbos. Okay, v'shibos makivason, you have your stalks of grain surrounding you, so they serve as your walls. Okay, mahalach is kula v'chutz l'paimamba. The entire area that you are surrounded by up until Beis Hasayim, which again we said was 5,000 square amas, up into that is all yours, and 2,000 from beyond it, because that becomes your entire. Because we're talking about the issue of tchum. You can't walk out more than 2,000 amas beyond city limits. Well, this is your city for Shabbos. This is your hangout. You're in the middle of nowhere. Okay, but so it could be very big. It could be up to basis science. So you have from either side of that particular abode, 2,000 amas from any side you go. You start counting from that point on, and you can go to that next distance, 2,000 amas away. Those are the laws of Tchum. Now, think about it. This is a wall. Now, this was a wall that was made to be a wall, or this was a cornfield made to be corn, and you turned it into a wall based on the fact that you cleared out a nice little area. So how, again, will Rava understand this particular case? Okay, V'chite may be going to argue. Hochinami. Listen, I'll give you the same answer I've been giving you till now. Okay, I did it in 3 cases. I can do it in a 4th case. V'chite hochinami shosam mitchilul kach. Maybe going to answer, well, he made it from the get-go for that purpose. He planted the corn knowing that he might decide to make a little, resting place for himself. And he wants it to be a wall. So he planted l'chatchila for that reason. Well, okay, as maybe a little bedochik as I might be, I can accept that in one of those cases. I get the case of kama because you have the choice of making that walls from the get-go. When you planted the corn, you planted the wheat, that then you can have that kavan and everything is good. But shockingly, you didn't plant that mound. Okay, you didn't make that mound. Hakadosh Baruch Hu did. You didn't make that cleft in the rock. Hakadosh Baruch Hu did. So you can't tell me you made the cleft and you made the mound with that intention, because that mound preceded you many, many years. So I get the comma case that could work. Elatel v'neka, Michael Meimar. But the case of the mound and the case of the cleft in the rock, that what in the world are you going to say? How in the world can you say you made it for that reason? You can't say it's a man. It doesn't sound like it's a man-made thing. It's not. And opening in a rock in a cave, that kind of those are things that were always here. Ella. So this is a knockout blow to the Rava's position that we thought we understood. We thought Rava was saying that whatever applies to Lechi applies to Mechitza. So if I can knock him out by Mechitza, I can knock him out by Lechi. And we're saying no. Elo Mechitza's Kleam Lo Pligi Devin Mechitza. When it comes to Mechitza, even Rava acknowledges you do not have to have a wall. In any case that you need a wall, you don't have to have a wall that was made originally for a wall. Even if it was, for whatever reason was made, if now you want to transition it into a mechitza, you can do that. There's no machlokes when it comes to a mechitza. So drop that. And therefore, all these kashas don't even start, because all these cases we're dealing with walls and not with lechis. And there's no machlokes now, based on our newfound understanding. There is no machlokes when it comes to a wall. Ki peligi belechi. Okay, this is the only argument is by a lechi. Abaya tamei damalul the amar lechi mishum mechitza. Abaya follows his reasoning that says the mechanism of a lechi serves the same mechanism as a mechitza. It's there to serve as a separation. So that post really is like your 4th wall. So it functions from that frame of reference, and therefore follows the same guidelines. Have mechitza, and a mechitza that stands by itself and sort of emerges as a wall, as opposed to having been made that way, is valid. So if the mechitza is valid, the lechi following the same line of reasoning is also valid. Rava follows his line of reasoning. The lechi is not valid because of the mechitza concept. There's a overriding concept of a heker. It's got to be recognizable. It's meant for the people to know, hey, this is a special place. This is not a 3-walled surrounded area. This is a 4-walled surrounded area, and that the mavi is sort of closed off, but as a message to the people. So once you're dealing with messages and hackers and recognitions, and you have to deliver a message to the people that, hey, be careful. This is special. This is different. So avida b'yadayim have a hecker. If you made it lechatchila for that purpose, that's called a hecker. That's called a message that people are going to get, because what's this? Look at this new thing. How did this get here? Oh, it's for this because they're making an eruv. That's the eruv. So ilo have a hecker. If not, it's not a good hecker. Okay, which maybe begs the question. There should be tours, of people taking tours around the Eruvs. Everyone knows, because most Eruvs you would never know. Not exactly the same thing. That's a different, a little bit of a different idea. But at the end of the day, these lechis are there for people to know that, at least according to Rava, that you're dealing with a lechi, and that it's there. So being aware of it is the key. And if you're going to allow a pre-existing lechi to be a valid lechi, you're defeating your purpose. It's not going to be. This was always here. It's not going to be. People are not going to take notice of it, and therefore, the machlok is only here, and that's where Rava feels it must be made lechatchila for that reason. Okay, let's take a look at Rashi. So Shavas Betel, Kiddush Levayom Betel v'Konasham Shviso. So that he's traveling, he's taking a trip and he's out in the middle of nowhere, and he happens to decide that this is a great place for me to spend Shabbos, a nice little mound up high. So, and it doesn't have to be such a little mound; it could be a big mound, it could be a big plateau where. This is where the Navajos hung out with Pocahontas. So let's see here, and then it's a nice big, area. But if you want to do that, you can do that. As long as the dimensions are Gavaya Sarah, it's got to be at least 10 high. Damrin on good asik mechitzos. Of course, you have very mukafs. Even though you look around you, right there it is. Okay, that might be Pocahontas. I'm not. But anyway, you look around, you don't see any walls, but the surrounding right downward wall goes up. Right, you have a wall beneath you. You have no wall around you. But since you have 10 tefachim underneath you, as you look around the plateau there, the mound. So that's your mechitza. But you're not seeing anything. That's the mechanism of good asik. The walls shoot straight up. So even though you don't see any walls around you, there are imaginary walls that are legal, valid walls. Okay. V'chein neka, or so to a cleft. Yavarihu mukaf, and now he's surrounded. V'chein neka echad min nikika yisraim. You got a cleft in a rock. There you have it. Okay. And this is looks like a big ditch, whatever. But okay. But maybe that is a rock. It just doesn't seem that way, but vumi dal ramas abeisam, again the same dimensions. It's between 4 amas and 2 saws. Hoyel v'shavas ba'avim mechitzosov nasas beiso. Okay, once you stayed, when Shabbos came, you put your challah down, you gefilte fish. And you said, "This is where I'm going to be for Shabbos." You looked around if you could find a minyan. Okay, but this is your place for the next 25 hours. This is where I'm hanging out. If you want to take a walk on Shabbos day from here, you have 2,000 amas from any direction of any side of that hole, however you want to classify that. V'kula karba amas, and it's all the entire area takes a status of 4 amas. Kilub karba amos of who? Those are his 4 amas, that area. Hilkach malachas kuloi. You can walk, you can traverse the entire area. V'chutzlei payamama, and in any direction 2,000 amas. Okay, avol, you have to pick one. You can't pick two directions. You got to pick one direction, and that's where you're going. If you want to take a walk, avol have a tfei mi basis sign. But if that enclosed area was more than 2 saws, a mechitzas of moiloslo. The mechitzas are not going to help you create a rishus yachid shekif she'ena osur ladira. Eino moil ela basis sign, like we just said. If it's not hukah fladira, if it's not made for the living area, it's not made for you to be, this is your domain. These walls are certainly not made for that reason, even though you're staying here for Shabbos, they're not hukah fladira. Okay, they only help up to a base of Saim. And that's why we pick 4 amos and onwards. Because if it's less than dalar amos, my mahalachas kuloi ikka. Then you wouldn't be able, you wouldn't say you can walk the whole area, because you are the whole area. That whole area. If that area was less, if you shrunk that and made that area less than dalar amos, the brisa couldn't be able to say the words. You can walk the entire area. That is, all you have is dalar amos, and there's no place to walk. Let's see. Why? How in the world are the mechitzas is going to help you? Anytime, if you just decided to stay in Wilshire Boulevard, or forget Wilshire, you're in the middle of nowhere, and you just sit down. Okay, this is my shvisa. Well, you have your Dalet Amas and you have 2,000 Amas in the direction in that case as well. We're learning an additional point that all this entire plateau or this entire hole in the ground, it is viewed as one Dalet Amas area. That's a chiddush of this particular point, because the fact that you have 2,000 Amas, I don't need this Bryce to teach me that. That's fundamental to the laws of Tchum. That's why it needed to be 4 Amas and above. Otherwise, there'd be no chiddush. I mean, technically, you're already in a Rishus Yachid from 4 Tfachim and more. But the chiddush is that it's all considered one. As we said in Perik Misho Tziyuah. Okay, that's later on. Okay, v'shibos mekifa son, you have stalks of grain, sheniach gavaylim saviv miliksar. You refrain from cutting down these stalks to serve as your wall. V'shivom gavayim yudaskin, obviously the 10 tefachim high to be a valid wall. So once you have them like that you're 10 high and you're surrounded on all sides, you're good to go as far as this area being one whole Rishus Yachid, and you have the entire area that you can traverse, even though it might be quite big. V'shibolos makivus, we did that. Tail v'neka. So you can tell me that you planted the stalks for that reason, but you can't tell me you planted the mound and you made the hole in the ground for that reason. They were made from the beginning of time, from Parshas Bereishis on. Okay, so this forced the issue for us to change and to say that indeed the machlokes is only about lechi, not about mechitza. So let's see if we can prove it. So Toshma. Let's try this one. Back to the Gemara, middle of the wide lines. Toshma avnei geder hayotzos min hageder, stones of the geder that go out of the geder. So that's a nice picture for us to see. 210, right? So those stones, if those stones that are protruding out of the wall are within 3 tefachim of each other, then we know our concept of lavud, and it's all considered connected, and they form a wall of 10 tefachim high. And that, well, not a wall. I mean, they do form an extension of a wall, but they're also a lechi too, right? Why is not a perfect lechi? Even though it doesn't look like a lechi, wasn't made to be a lechi, but it's a valid lechi. If they're separated from each other in going up and going down less than 3 tefachim, you don't need another lechi. That will serve as a valid lechi. Shleisha, but if they're separated 3 tefachim, well then lavud has now gone out the window. Then you have to bring a new one. That can't be a lechi. If you have just one brick here, one brick there, and another brick, but they're all separated, so they don't. What does that do? It doesn't do anything. You don't have a regular straight up post of 10 tefachim, and that's what you need. So, the obvious kasha is this was a part of the wall, right? So the guy didn't finish the job. That can never happen. That the guys don't finish the job. So, and they just have these bricks sticking out of the wall. So it was made to be a wall, but you now want to transition it into being a lechi. According to Rava, that shouldn't be good. According to Rava, you should have to have the lechi made for the specific purpose of being a lechi. So Gemara says, who says that it was made for a wall? Hachanami, the answer is here too. Shabbatam etchila kach. When he made it, either the builder or the owner was a big lamdin. He said, listen, I want to be able to fulfill this case in Eruvin Dav Tezvav. So when you make the wall, I want you to stick bricks out and have them protrude, so I can have the only lechi in the neighborhood that actually is made the way the Gemara in Tezvav says it's made, outdoing the Joneses. So he says, Mark says, well, wait a minute, Yachi Pshita. If he made, then what's a chiddush? I mean, we're not telling me love it over here, right? So what chiddush could it be? If it was not made that way, then that's a chiddush. A Rav is wrong. But if Rav is not wrong because it was made lechatchila to be a lechi, so it's loved, why shouldn't it be a good lechi? And the answer is Yachi Pshita. So Manatem, I would have thought Lemeisar bin Yonahu Davida, that it's made to continue, at least its appearance, we'll see Rashi, but it looks like it's part of a continuation of a wall, right? Anybody looking at that says the builder might come back soon and, finish that up. So it's made to continue, maybe you want to make a 4th wall to close the whole thing up, but that's not the way you normally leave something and, end of the job. That's not the way the job ends. So since when you look at it, you don't really see the lechi as a lechi, you see it more as a continuity of a future job that's going to be happening over here, I might say therefore it's not a good lechi. Kamashwan, the chiddush is, yes it is. It's perfectly okay. Let's see Rashi. First wide line of Rashi. Hayotzes minageda, the bricks are coming out of the wall, zu, one on top of the other. Lemesar, so what's the chiddush? The answer is, because I would think Lemesa binyana. Shemir telasves mechitza mikaisel zeh, lekaisel shekenegdo, yiskash b'avarim halalu. If you want to make a wall from this side to the other side, you're going to connect it to these protruding bricks. Shekain derech habinoyim lasos. That's the way builders do it. Ube inyan acher en yochol ledevek binyan chodesh b'binyan yoshim. Without this, it will be very hard to connect the old structure to the new structure. So it. So I guess he doesn't really say it appears that way. But I guess right, because you can't say he made it that way, because we just answered that he made it for the purpose of being a lechi. But I guess l'chor you have to say pshat. That's the way it looks, and therefore, again, since Rava's whole concept is that it needs to be a message to the people that are using the Eruv that's a lechi, and it was put in there for that reason. Maybe this would not qualify. The chiddush is, even though yes, it looks that way, but since that's what you did for that particular purpose, it is indeed valid, and it is a good lechi. Okay, so we still have not proven Abaye Rava. We've taken a major offensive against Rava here. I don't think there's been one kasha against Abaye, but nevertheless he's been able to repel everything. So Tashma, let's try another one. Back to the Gemara. Come in here. Reb Chia learned in a brayse. Okay, we had this earlier where you had the wall going in, moving away from the other wall, from the other three walls. So, and by taking away a chunk out of the wall, okay, either adding a chunk or subtracting a chunk, okay, so that's, in that case, right, it went in. So you see on the left side, on 110, right, so that's where the wall became narrower. So you've taken a chunk out of that wall, and now let that aleph be the lechi, right? So it's true. It's a little bit on the outside part, but can that not be a lechi? Does that not work? Or maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We had that machlokus before, whether or not it needs to be something that protrudes clearly, or it could still be part of the wall and not so recognizable. Let's see here. One side of it comes in, enters in more than its counterpart. Whether it's apparent to the outside people, but equal to the inside, where you can't tell. Okay, or you can. It appears clearly to the inside people, right? Because if you went the other way, where it sort of sticks out the other side. He doesn't give both examples. Either way, so in either situation, it is a valid lechi.
It's in those crude drawings to the right.
Crude drawings to the right.
110.
Right. Okay. Right. So in other words, so the of 110. Let me get my glasses. Right near b'chutz. Right, so in other words, the bottom one on the right, the one that says near b'chutz, right? So if you're on the inside of that thing, it's a straight continuation of the wall, okay? Even though it doesn't look like it, but right, it's basically straight continuation. So it's shavifnim, it's equal on the inside. So I can't really. If I'm inside the mav, I'm looking out. It looks like it's a continuation of the wall. But to the outside people, it doesn't. And to the outside people, they see there's a difference between the discrepancy between the wall and between the lechi. So either way, or in the top case, right, to the inside people, it's clearly different. You clearly see the insert, or whatever the inlet of that wall, and the outside people looks smooth. So either way you learn, it does not matter. It's valid, because as long as it's on one side of the equation, either to the people on the outside or the people inside, it's valid. Then it's apparent. It's valid. Right, so that's what we learned earlier, and now we're repeating that over here as it relates to our sugya. Okay, so what does that show? L'chari, this is part of a wall. It's the same idea, the same kasha a little bit as before. The assumption is that this is just made as a wall, and yet you're validating it for lechi, proving that you don't have to have a lechi made for that purpose, specific purpose.
Rabbi, just while we're on this, we're assuming this is the same material, but what if it was a cyclone fence, the extra, it was just a continuation, but a cyclone fence, either one on the right. It's just sort of a construction.
Well, I mean, that might be.
Would that be a lechi? I mean, it's a continuation.
Well, I mean, Mike said we hold this is a lechi, so the halacha is that it's valid. You're saying that if you can tell because of a different, maybe different coloring or a different type of wall, it's not the same.
Like a construction, they have it up temporarily as a.
Yeah, I think that might be better. That's
even better.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Yeah. So what's the deal here? Why is this valid if it's all part of the wall? Same answer, right? We could have guessed that was going to be the answer. Same answer. It was made lechatchila for that purpose, and since it was made for that purpose, it's perfectly okay. There's nothing that Rava would argue about when you built this wall to be that lechi. That extension was made that way. Rava says again, same kasha. Then what's a chiddush? Okay, it was made for that purpose. The goof of chiddush is that you only have to be delivering the message to one side of the equation. You're not delivering the message to both sides. Either the inside people don't see it or the outside people don't see it. That's good enough. That's a big chiddush. In fact, it's such a big chiddush. It was a big tumult in the early Yisuga. We weren't able to. It wasn't so clear, how we came out. Now we're saying that if you look at this brisa seems to prove. It could prove. Rava wrong, but if you want to defend Rava that it was made lechatchila for that reason, it tells you the chiddush. Well, I guess either way. Either way, this brisa supports the notion that you don't have to have it clear for both sides. That if it's clear from one side and it's indented on the other side, in which case half of the people, your target audience, is aware, that's good enough. So hakamash when near b'chutz v'shem ifnim nida mishum lechi. Okay, Rashi. Let's see here, and no Rashi. Did I skip something? I think I skipped something. Yeah, sorry about that. I skipped the Toshma before the other Toshma, right? I don't think I did. Let's go back. So from the Toshma that I just did, we won't do it again, but let's go back. There's an earlier Toshma. Avnei Geder, right? We didn't do that. Come in here. Avnei Geder, hayotzes min hageder. You have stones of a wall that come out of the wall. Muvdala zumizu.
Are you talking about the Rashi or the Gemara?
The Gemara.
Avnei Geder is the staggered.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm a little bit daydreaming here. Okay, fine. So we did do it. Okay, good. So we're up
that was
to
a good test, though.
Okay, good.
We were paying attention. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, at least somebody was. Okay, so Samchina, where are we? Fine. So we're ready to go weiter. Okay. Toshma. Okay, let's try the next try. So we did Reb Chia, and now we're closing in on the Mishnah, so we're getting close to the end. Toshma, come in here this case. The Rav have Yosef Ahu Muvah. Okay, Rav was sitting in a certain mavui. Have Yosef Rav Huna Kamei, and Rav Huna, his Talmud, was sitting in front of Rav. Amalei L'Shamei. So he told his servant, Zil Aisli Kuza Demaya, could you bring me a little pitcher of water? So Ada Asa, but unfortunately, before he came back, Nafal Achaya. The lechi, a bunch of kids were running around, and the lechi broke, and fell. And no more lechi. No more validation of the mavi. You can't carry anymore in the mavi. So the guy's going to be coming with the pitcher of water. Oh my gosh, we got a problem. And so when he started coming into the mavi, Rav Huna starts motioning to him, Kama dochte, stop. Don't stay right in your place. Don't move. You can't carry. We have a lechi down. Okay, so we have an Eruv alert. So and you can't. You got to stop where you are. So Amalei Rav Huna. I'm sorry, Rav did that. Sorry about that. Rav is the one who stopped him, and Rav Huna was observing this. So Amalei Rav Huna. So Rav Huna says to Rav, "Yisavel Amar Lismo Chadikla." Okay, but we have a beautiful palm tree hanging out in the Mavli that happened to be there. Okay, no picture of it, but it's there. Okay, you can trust the Gemara. So therefore, why in the world will you tell the servant, okay, the shamish, not to bring the water? Let's forget the lechi. Yes, the lechi we put up fell down, but this lechi is valid. The palm tree also is positioned in a place where it could be a valid lechi. So why not validate that from that reason? So Rav, even though Rav Huna was a great Amayr and Rav was his Rebbe, once in a while you got to give your Talmud a little bit of a reminder. Seems to me that nobody explained to this wonderful Talmud of mine, Rav Huna, the sugya. He seemed like he didn't grasp the sugya. Okay, okay, did this palm tree, was it designated yesterday when Shabbos came as our lechi? It was not. Okay, well, you want to use it now? It's Shabbos afternoon. You can't pull it off. But what can we infer from Rav's words about the fact that he said, Did you designate it from yesterday? Sounds like if you designated it from yesterday, it would have worked. Sounds like Rav is an Abaya man, right? Because according to Rava, since it wasn't planted for that reason, okay, then even if it was designated from yesterday, it shouldn't work. Time lo samchinon. The whole reason is because you didn't rely on it from yesterday. Or samchin heavy lechi. But it sounds like if we did rely on it, it would have been a good lechi. So l'chor, don't we have a proof to Abaye and a raya against Rava from Rav? Granted, it's not a Mishnah, it's not a Brisa, but Rav is certainly up there. So it's still a pretty strong indication on Abaye's side. So. The Gemara says, well, nice try, but, can't I switch the parameters of the machlokes? Let's say, since Rav Huna, we do see that Rav Huna himself thought that the palm tree was good. Now, Rav Huna certainly did not know and did not, more than that, no. He was aware that the palm tree was not planted for that reason. Right? So, and yet he was going to rely on it even though it wasn't designated from yesterday. So you see, there is a valid position. Rav Huna was certainly no slouch. He was a great Amayra, and if so maybe that opening would allow us to now redefine the machlokas. Let's change the whole machlokas around, and if by changing machlokas around, we can actually have this case of Rav support Rava and not support Abaye. How? Okay, lema Abaye Rava, but pligi. Maybe the whole machlokas is when you did not rely on it already from Erev Shabbos. Okay, hasamchinallah have a lechi. Okay, but if you did, everyone would agree. Now, maybe the whole machlokes has moved to a case where you didn't prepare it from yesterday, and that would be the machlokes. Is that good enough to be a lechi? Even just willy nilly on a Shabbos afternoon, you want to make a lechi out of nothing. Where it says no, lo sakedaitach. He can't say it. No, and if that would be the pshat, then things would change. Then it would come out that in this case, since he said you need to rely on it, Rav would end up being a Rava person. He would be supporting Rava as opposed to supporting Abaye. Right? All you got to do is change the goalpost. Right? We never see that happening. Okay, if you change the goalpost, then then the whole positions change, and what started off as a kasha on Rava now becomes a raya to Rava. Where it says, nice try, but you can't do that. You can't. It will not work. At least not in this case. Lo sakedaitach. You can't argue that. Why? Dahu barka deve bar the heve bay bar chavu. There's a certain porch that was in the house of bar chavu. And they argued about that porch that had a beam on that porch to serve as a lechi all the years. So if they're arguing all the years, clearly, after the first argument, they could have designated the next Friday, right? So if you're going to tell me that the whole machlokes is when you didn't designate it, that can't be the machlokes, okay? Because clearly in this case you did designate it, but the machlokes is, but you didn't build the pillar for that reason. The pillar was built stamazai, and now the question is, could Bar Chova use that pillar as his lechi? And they argue about it for years, clearly establishing that the initial assumption of the machlokas is correct, and indeed this story of Rav disagrees with Rava and supports Abaye. Look at Rashi. Lismoch adikla, right? So he says, why not just rely on the palm tree. There was a palm tree right next to the opening. Right? Had you relied on it, had you designated on Friday, it would have been good, even though it was not planted for that reason. So let's say the other way around, Abaye, the Shari Kashle, maybe Abaye who says it's okay, the kasha is on him. How you have the Rav? Maybe this Rav case will be a kasha on Abaye. The Rav Leisomach Hadikla, Vanan Kimla Hilchzik Abaye, Belech Yom Me'elav. Okay, and this would actually be problematic because we are going to pass like Abaye. This is one of the Yal Kigam cases, one of the 6 cases in Shas that we actually follow Abaye. So this, if you learn that way, it would actually be problematic in terms of halacha. Matarates, and the Gemara answers, Lo Yisakadaitach. Nice try, but you can't turn that around and have Rav having supported Rava. Why? The Vade B'Tzamchin Allah Pligi, the Machlekes is certainly in the case where you relied on the Lechi and you designated it before Shabbos. Avlo Samchin, they ever call ain't a Lechi, but if you just want to use it willy-nilly on Shabbos, it definitely is not a Lechi. Kayu Uvda the Dikla de Rav. Like the case of Rav, where you just wanted to use it on mamish in the middle. Barka Ziyitzia is like a porch. They have a bay bar chavu, where you made Amud Hasemich Eseyetzia, and there was a pillar there that was supporting the porch. Oimed Barosh Mavis, that was standing in the end of the Mavi Acher, so it was serving another Mavi, but it also now, why not use it to serve the porch? Vifli Gabal Kule Shnayu. Abaye Shari Mismachala, Abaye said, go ahead and use it. Rava Asar. And Rava said, you can't. Alma samchinon Allah pligi. Clearly the message was, it's only when you're relying on it and when you designated it from before Shabbos that they're arguing. And who we hold like? These are one of the 6 cases, the famous Yal Kigam cases, where even though all of the Shas we pass like Rava, but Yal Kigam we pass like Abaye.